What's up, guys? I'm your host, Joe McGowan. He's David Miller. We're MonsterEV.com. We're going to come at you with Week 16's top 5 NFL picks. You ready, Dave? Let's do it, buddy. We have our number 5 pick this week. We're taking a look at Pittsburgh. They're on the road. They're at Baltimore. So many storylines here, Dave. I mean, last week, Pittsburgh, emotional win, huge win against Denver. They come back and, I believe, cover the number depending upon where you got that play, if you played that game. But it pretty much landed on the number that I think it went off at. Baltimore, they look pretty worthless, pretty hopeless team, no chance at the playoffs. 10-point spread here. What do you like?
Yeah, they look worthless, but pretty good defense. I mean, they were actually in the game for the cover till the end, and then Pittsburgh coming back like that, it takes its toll. So now to go and lay 10 on the road, it just seems like too many. Because Baltimore, you could see last week, they were trying. They're not throwing in the towel. And whenever we can get a home dog at its high point, in a good spot like this, where the other team has had a lot of emotional wins and, you know, kind of rolling and in a winning streak, looking like they're going to do something postseason, it's kind of the spot where Pittsburgh will look to not really give it their all. So definitely some value to take plus 10 here.
And a nice key number being 10, you know, always helps.
10
correct?
or more. You know, you could wait on this one. I see this one going up. You know, because Pittsburgh, all the money's been coming in on Pittsburgh, and same thing last week. It came in once again. So once the team is covering for everyone, they tend to back that team again the next week. So wait and grab Baltimore right at post. I think you'll be happy. I think this will be a pretty easy cover.
Sounds good. Let's move on to our number 4 pick of the week. We have the New York Giants. They're at Minnesota. Another crazy interesting game. 20 different storylines we can talk about. One of the biggest ones might be, you know, Beckham, Odell Beckham. Is he playing? Is he not playing? Again, we film on Wednesday, so I think this is still questionable. You might have some insight here. But kind of wild last week against Norman, those guys going back and forth. Never really seen anything like that in modern football to that level. I mean, that was pretty crazy what those guys are doing in that game. What do you like here? You have a lot of points, 6 points. Myself, I was surprised to see it, 6 points. So what do you think here, Dave?
Yeah, 6 is a lot. The reason it's a lot is because Minnesota was starting to look kind of like an average team and kind of, I want to say, falling off. But they did have the big win last week against Chicago. So you're getting, when you first look at this matchup, you're thinking somewhere around 3, but Beckham's out, and the combination of that and Minnesota looking really good is why it's so many points. So usually these injuries are just overplayed. Even though he is obviously a key role in the offense, it's too many. 6 is too many here. Take this one now.
Is it an injury or is it his suspension?
Suspension, but it's kind of the same thing to me. Yeah.
Gotcha.
When I say injury, I mean he's not playing, so they adjust, and that's usually the spot where I'm looking to take the team that actually has the player that's injured or suspended.
So Giants plus 6 or better. That's our number 4 pick. We're going to go right ahead and move to number 3. Number 3, we have Green Bay, another awesome game. I mean, you just got to love the NFL and football. But you got Green Bay, they're on the road. They're playing against Arizona. Again, this is pretty easy for me. I love being the host in spots like this because these are easy games. I mean, who doesn't know about Arizona and Palmer and what they're doing, and Green Bay and Rodgers and their team? I mean, just, again, awesome teams, crazy matchup, tons of implications here playoff-wise, I believe, but help me because you're the expert. What do you see here? We have 4.5 points.
Yeah, I think you got to take the 4.5. Home field worth 3. So, you know, Arizona is a little better, but basically Green Bay's hitting their stride, as they like to say, hitting their stride right now. They're looking good, both sides of the ball, and getting that extra 1.5, because 3 and 4 that's the key range you want to look to play against. Take the 4.5, you know, when it comes off of 3. But actually this one did open for 4.5. So I think I don't know, this is like a 3-point game to me. And anytime I can get 4.5, I'm taking it.
And being only a 1.5 difference, obviously, from 3 to 4.5, but it's quite a bit different than if it was from 3.5 to 5.5, yeah. Right? Or whatever that difference would be. It's a big difference because off of the 3, there's a lot more value EV, and it costs more if you ever would buy a half a point. You know, to get off of 3 or to get to 3. Is that correct?
Yeah, teams play for 3 too. So a lot of times strategy in the fourth quarter, it's for 3. And you'd be surprised out there how many bets you've either won or lost, when a team's up by even 10, and then they kind of give up, the back door. So you always have that too. But I think this will be a lot more of a competitive game than people think.
Okay, so we're going to go right ahead. We're going to go to our number 2 pick of the week. Carolina, they're on the road. They're at Atlanta. Atlanta 7-7 this year. Carolina undefeated still. These guys just are on a roll. Cam Newton clearly, more than in the running for the MVP. Probably the favorite to win the MVP. What do you like here? I mean, there's a million things, again, we could talk about in this game. But what do you see here? is it 7 points? Atlanta's getting 7 at home. But pretty scary because
it's
Carolina.
It's the same as when the Saints got 7 at home. To me, it's the same. It's kind of like when you have these divisional matchups, and sure, Carolina is the best team in the NFL. They're proving it. Atlanta is not. They're an average team. But the early line for this one, too, was 6.5. And actually, Atlanta looked a lot better in their win than Carolina. They both kind of blew out their opponent. And then Carolina let them back in a little bit. So I guess you could say that it kind of offsets at worst. But I think 7's too many here. Like, it would be a completely different play at 6.5, but divisional, and then it's a road game. A lot of pressure. 7's a lot.
And this is a spot where you and I have talked. We try to keep the videos on the shortish side. But this is a game, too, at post that could possibly get pounded on Carolina. We can't predict the future, but have a pretty good feel about sports. So this could maybe go to 7.5 or 8 and even get a better number.
I think Pittsburgh's more likely to move because they've covered the number so much. Like, it's scary how much they're covering. Carolina, they're winning, but not they did cover against Atlanta in the last game, so we have the revenge factor here too. But they're not really covering as much. So, yeah. Also, with favorites doing really good last week, a lot of these could get better. So, you might want to kind of be conservative now and then look to press each one up. Because, I gotta say too, with the favorites doing that good and the public backing them again, it's probably what's going to happen. So,
and hey, Carolina up with about 5 minutes, give or take. Don't quote me on this. 35-7, 5 minutes left in the third. You're thinking, why is Cam Newton playing? Put in a backup quarterback, rest your players. You can't lose, just hand off the ball. And they almost lose. I mean, and they didn't cover. Giants, which is a pick you had last week, they end up covering the number. And Carolina almost lost, being up 35-7. So anyway.
Feel bad, for the guys that had that.
All right, our number 1 pick. We love the number 1 picks. Our number 1 pick for this week, we're going to look at Washington at Philadelphia. The Eagles are -3. What are we thinking here, Dave?
Yeah, lay the 3. I mean, it was kind of rough last week with them, but the combination of how easy Washington won, the score was kind of misleading. I mean, they really killed Buffalo. And how the Eagles got crushed, it really sets up where it's an emotional play over anything. Plus, the Eagles are the better team at home. 3 is light. This should be about 4. Early line was 4.
The Eagles may have gotten crushed last week, but they were right in it. I mean, it was 10-10 going into the second half to late in the second quarter. Excuse me. It was 10-10, and they give up that touchdown. So they were kind of in it, and then just. Sometimes the wheels fall off a little bit and they end up getting crushed. But they were in the game for a good while and the wheels fell off a little bit.
Yeah, you can kind of self-destruct in the middle of a game and go, well, let's look. You kind of subconsciously give up. So because that happened and the score kind of got out of hand, that's why we're getting this value here. So, yeah, lay 3 and hopefully I'll see you at the window.
I like it. There you have it, guys. There's Monster EV's top 5 plays for Week 16. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.